Melvo lit that shit, bang.
Welcome back, everybody, to Crows of Judgment, and today I have an update with some pretty breaking news that's going to expose Keemstar for something really disgusting and disturbing in regards to his interview with Lou, the mysterious French girl who he finally dropped the interview of just last night. Now, it didn't even take 24 hours for that whole thing to just completely blow up in his face. I've got Lou going off on Twitter about what a terrible person Keemstar is. I've got evidence that... Okay, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to spoil it just yet. Okay, so this is the Pyrocynical French girl interview. Now, Boblax has it uploaded onto his channel. I'm going to play this segment because something really important gets said here. This is all in regards to a content creator who has since deleted everything off of the internet, known as Ancient Reality.
Ancient Reality?
Ancient Reality. People know that this is a very inappropriate relationship. Why didn't anybody say anything publicly?
I have no idea why. Anything for views try to help me, and sadly I denied it.
Okay, so I reacted to that on stream last night, and I've got a little bit more information that's come in. But for those of you who have no clue who Anything for Views is, at the time I was really tired, and I probably wouldn't have known the guy anyways. But this is a thumbnail from 4 years ago from the Baited podcast. This would be Keemstar, and of course you have Anything for Views, because Anything for Views was Keemstar's co-host on the Baited podcast. Now, Baited was a pretty large podcast. To my understanding, it even inspired Ethan Klein to do his podcast because it was very successful. Well, you see, Baited was going on 4 years ago. What else was going on 4 years ago? The French girl. Okay? Anything for Views was doing a podcast with Keemstar at the time of all this. And 4 years ago, when he is Keemstar's co-host on this podcast, right? And is able to contact Keemstar basically whenever, he apparently reached out to the French girl because he, at the very least, suspected that Ancient Reality was trying to prey on a 14-year-old girl. Now, look, I know what you're saying, right? Well, that's not proof that Keem knows anything. I want to play one more segment from the from the interview here really quick. So let's just go through it, okay?
Happened, and they could have stopped it. You have, all these different YouTubers, especially Pyro. Pyro had firsthand knowledge. If he would have came out and said, look, I know this girl's age, this relationship is going on, he could have put a stop to it like I put a stop to you and Pyro's relationship before it got to a point of statutory rape.
Okay, so yeah. Basically, I want to make a couple different points here. One, and I think this is really unfair because everything that I can tell, and honestly, I've only been looking into this situation for about a day now, less than that. So I want to look into it a little bit further, and if I come up with more stuff, I'll definitely update this. Everything I can tell about Anything for Views, Chad, is that he's a good guy. Right? He suspected something was going on, so he tried getting in touch with the girl. Now, I don't know what else he could have done. He did have a massive platform that he shared with Keemstar, right? But I'm not entirely sure it's very responsible for someone to just say, I suspect this guy is a, P to the E to the D to the O, so I'm just going to call him it on our podcast, right? With no proof, no evidence, and the girl saying that she doesn't want me involved at all, right? I'm not entirely sure I can really blame Chad for not, blowing the whistle and informing everyone of something that he doesn't have literally anything to substantiate, right? However, in Keemstar's view, Chad, who did reach out to that girl, right, he knew he should have gone onto his platform and he should have told everyone, the platform that he shared with Keemstar, right? But more to the point, I find it hard to believe, right, that Chad didn't communicate any of this with Keemstar at the time, right? Massive major drama channel, right? your co-host, your buddy, you were calling him during the interview, right? I'm pretty sure that Chad would have had some sort of conversation with Keemstar, even if it was just, hey, Keem, look, I'm dealing with some really just disturbing stuff. I need your advice. Because, look, when I get news on something, I contact my co-host for this channel. I get his opinion. Even if we're not going to air the content, I get his opinion. And if it's serious, we talk about it. There's a lot of stuff that we haven't put on the channel because we either cannot verify it or because it needs to be handled through, proper authorities, okay? And we don't put it on the channel, but I communicate with my co-host. So, look, is that proof that Keemstar knew 100%? Absolutely not. Okay? Absolutely not. However, it is proof that Anything for Views did, at the very least, suspect that there was a predator on YouTube that was preying on a 14-year-old girl who would later be assaulted by said predator. In Keemstar's own view, right? In Keemstar's own logic, he needs to be calling out Anything for Views. He needs to be calling out his own friend, his former podcast co-host, for allowing a predator to statutory rape a 14-year-old. That's not my point of view. That's literally fucking Keemstar's. Okay? But don't worry. Keem's got a lot to answer for here. Now over here, I want to highlight this before we really jump into the stuff with Keemstar and what he knew and what he didn't know, but more specifically, what he definitely did know. And that's talking about what Pyro and Dolan knew, right? As you can see here, Pyro and Dolan didn't know about the abusive side of what AR did to me, so they aren't to be hated at all. Both were sweet and are still with me. Keem is obviously trying to feed hate towards Pyro for no effing reasons. But you said that Pyro knew the age of AR in the interview. If Pyro and Dolan didn't know, how did Anything for Views know? They didn't know what he did to me. It's different. They knew him, but were lied to by AR. Well, realistically, don't you think they should have said something about a 23-year-old man dating a 14-year-old girl? Just because they didn't know about the abuse doesn't mean they shouldn't have spoken out. They didn't know about dating, lied to about it by AR. Okay, so I want to be very clear. Anything for Views, out of everybody in the situation, is the only person we can confirm at the time, right, who did at the very least suspect that something was going on, right? And I think he did the right thing by trying to reach out to Lou. Lou is the French girl. Say hi to Lou, everybody. I think he did the right thing by trying to reach out to her and seeing if she was okay. However, she didn't confirm what was going on with AR, so he couldn't really do anything. I don't blame him for what happened. I think he did the best that he could, given a very tough situation in which the answer, the right answer is not very clear. However, again, by Keemstar's own logic, Chad is responsible for the sexual assault of a 14-year-old. Nuts! Fucking nuts, right? Right? But it does get worse. It does get worse. There was this message sent, right? 2016, you've confused Ancient Reality and Pyro. No, that was another one called Ancient Reality who also went out with this girl 14 years old when he was 21 or 22. Kind of cool. I don't want to take him out of context because I think there was more to this conversation, right? But then this was also sent to me, right? So anyways, this would be from the Reddit post about Pyrocynical and the French girl, Pyro's response to Keem about the situation, right? Now, this user said, I have a feeling the 300k YouTuber is Snipers, right? And Ziggurat responds saying, hey, that's me. Someone linked me your comment. I believe the 300k he's referring to was me, but I wasn't part of the witch hunt on Pyro. You see, when Pyro responded to Keemstar in this situation, he talked about 3 people that had it out for him, and one of them was a 300k channel, right, that had gone to Keemstar. Zigguratti's saying, hey, I'm the 300K channel. And he says right here, I stupidly told Keemstar about this guy I won't name who's 22 and clearly taking advantage of a girl who happens to be the same girl these two guys accuse Pyro of doing whatever to. Okay, so 4 fucking years ago, right? So I want to be very clear here. Keemstar's co-host on the Baited podcast, Keemstar's buddy, reached out to the French girl 4 years ago, concerned that something was going on with Ancient Reality, right? Also 4 years ago, Keemstar was contacted by someone named Zigguratti to say, hey, the girl that you're saying is with Pyrocynical is actually dating a 21 to 22-year-old, right? Now, look, hey, I can't say what comes first, the anything for views reaching out to her or Zigguratti reaching out to Keem, but like I think that it might be a little bit of my own headcanon where Keem was contacted by Zigguratti. Zigguratti informed Keem of Ancient Reality, and then Keem talked about it with somebody else, like his podcast co-host, who then did the right thing and tried reaching out to the girl because he was very concerned with what was going on. Meanwhile, Keem is sitting on his fucking ass chugging down G Fuel as he allows a 14-year-old girl to get assaulted because he's so much more concerned with taking out Pyrocynical. Allegedly. I can't say what the motivation here is. What I can say is, definitively, Keemstar was informed 4 years ago that there was a 14-year-old girl being preyed on by a major YouTuber. Major in the sense that, you know, the guy had about 250, 300,000 subscribers at the time. Ancient Reality was a YouTuber with 250K subs. Keemstar, who likes to go on and on and on about protecting the children in the community, right? 4 years ago was informed that there was a YouTuber preying on a 14-year-old girl, right? And ignored the story. Just said, fuck it, whatever. Right? And later, that girl goes on to get sexually assaulted by that YouTuber. And that YouTuber currently has deleted a ton of videos from his channel. He's disappeared from the internet. The police are investigating, trying to find where he is. He's just ghosted and disappeared. And Keemstar knew all about this 4 years ago. Right? Fucking right? Okay, but I gotta go back to this, right? Pyro, I just want you to tell your fans the truth, that you lied about me. And I want everyone reading this to know this is not just about me and Pyro. This is about the safety of kids in our community. And the story you will hear in this interview is heartbreaking. Keemstar knew about a predator, okay? Let me be clear. Keemstar was informed about a predator on the platform going after a 14-year-old. But unfortunately for said 14-year-old, that was the same girl in the story that Keemstar was using against Pyrocynical. So, you know, he just happened to not talk about it, right? Right? And now, I know what you're thinking, right? Well, no, Keemstar he's got journalistic integrity, Crow. You know, Keemstar is not the type of individual who would just run with a story about a predator, run an accusation of sexual misconduct without evidence. He's just, you know, he's being responsible. Well, yeah, about that, right? See, a while back, I actually did a video about Keemstar, right? And forgive the terrible audio. Okay, I'm not doing my opening skit. My opening skit was terrible. Forgive the terrible audio here, right? This is Keemstar, right? Who ran a fake claim about sexual misconduct involving Brandon and his cousin Anthony, right? Where he leads a girl through the interview. I'm gonna mute the audio because it's god awful, right? But he has this girl on there where she says that they locked her in a room and they forced her to get tag teamed by them, right? And you look at the look on Keemstar's face. The face you make when you get outed for covering for a fucking predator for 4 fucking years, you jackass. It was revealed to be a whole fucking hoax, like literally just a couple days later, right? Keemstar, if he did any amount of research into it, would have known the entire thing was fake. But remember, Keemstar had beef with these 2 individuals, so he decided to run a fake claim of sexual misconduct and then say that it's not his fault that he got it wrong. You know, he's just reporting on the news, right? That's Keemstar, okay? So if you're going to if you want me to believe that 4 years ago, journalistic integrity just told Keem to, not talk about a story involving a YouTuber who's a predator preying on a 14-year-old girl, right? Meanwhile, the co-host of his podcast is reaching out to that girl, see if he can help out in any way, shape, or form. I don't know, man. I don't know. Something wrong happened there. Something really fucked up happened there. And Keemstar was at the fucking center of it. He absolutely was informed about ancient reality 4 years ago and sat on it. Just like when he did the interview with Lou, Lou the French girl, that he sat on for 3 fucking months. That's Keemstar. One of the most petty, vindictive assholes on YouTube who let a fucking predator walk free, who let a girl get sexually assaulted, right? And I know, hot take, Crow, hot take. It would be, except that was Keemstar's own fucking logic when it came to Pyrocynical. Remember that audio I played for you at the start of the video? Right? Here, let me play it for you guys again.
Happened, and they could have stopped it. You have, all these different YouTubers, especially Pyro. Pyro had firsthand knowledge.
You had all these different YouTubers, anything for views, and Keemstar. And Keemstar had firsthand knowledge. He could have put a stop to it. Right? That's how Keemstar sees this situation. And he's the villain. Like, oh my fucking God, dude. It's not a hot take from me, is what I'm trying to say, right? Now, look, I want to be as clear as I can. It is entirely possible that Keemstar's co-host, right, never informed him of any of this stuff. Found out about the situation because something just clicked in his head wrong about this ancient reality guy, right? That's possible. Right? It's also possible that Keemstar was informed, right? And just forgot or, never saw it or, somehow had, selective amnesia, right? All technically within the realms of possibility, right? All technically within the realms of possibility. However, I want you guys to think about this. Do you honestly believe that Keemstar did not know when you have someone saying that they directly informed him of what was going on, right? And again, as Keemstar said himself, Keemstar has a platform. Keemstar could have told people what was going on. And Keemstar instead just decided, you know what? Pyro. Even that interview, right? That interview that he calls like, this is about Pyrocynical, getting him to tell the truth. This is about what Pyro did. Pyro's responsible. He has an interview where a girl is telling a story about how she was assaulted by an older man when she was 14 years old, right? She was statutory RAPED'd. And he turns it into an attack on Pyrocynical. Everything's about Pyrocynical. The man's head is completely fucking warped. There is something deeply wrong with Keemstar, right? For 4 years, he covered up that there was an actual predator out there because it was more important to him to have his petty little fucking vengeance against another guy. That's how fucked up that guy is. Screwed up. And you know what? I would normally say it's not fair to do something like, say, Pyrocynical, since he must have known he's responsible for what happened, right? I don't think it's fair to say that anything for views, Keemstar's co-host, who clearly knew what was going on, right? Or at the very least, suspected, and would later turn out to be correct, is responsible for not, blowing it up on a large platform, which he happened to share with Keemstar. I'm not even saying that, Keemstar being informed about it is responsible for what happened, right? But Keemstar is. Keemstar believes that by Pyrocynical, who believes knew ancient reality, right? He believes he knew about ancient reality, is responsible, then 100% Keemstar and his own co-host are responsible for what happened to that girl. They are, right? I mean, that's Keemstar's logic, right? They're responsible. Keemstar is absolutely responsible for what happened to that 14-year-old girl under Keemstar's own warped sense of fucking reality. There you go, guys. That's the update. But you think this situation is over? No, there's so much more going on behind the scenes right now.
Nova, let that shit bang.